Hello everyone, welcome to our program, Universal Peace Federation. My name is Ray LaPalkin, and at Universal Peace Federation we're promoting interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values, all centered on God's ideal. And we believe that through doing this, and we'll connect together all cultures, races, religions, ethnicities, nationalities throughout the world to really bring peace to America, peace to our world. Today we're going to be doing part 3 of our Peace Starts With Me rally. It's titled Come Together Children. It was a virtual rally that was held, and the keynote speaker in this is Bishop Noel Jones. A lot of you I know are familiar with him from California. He'll be speaking. But before we do that, I'd like to do a little reading from one of our co-founders, Dr. Reverend Sun Myung Moon, and this is from his autobiography as a peace-loving global citizen. Selfishness is rampant in the world. Ironically, however, the individual is destroyed by this, and not just the individual, but those around him and the nation as a whole. The greatest obstacle to the world of peace is avarice in people's hearts. It starts in people and expands to the nation, and hearts stained with avarice cause division and conflict at every level. Countless people throughout history have shed their blood and died in conflicts caused by this. To eliminate such conflicts, we need a great revolution to change the erroneous values and thinking that are widespread in the world today. The complex problems our societies face today can be resolved quickly if there is a revolution in people's thinking. If each individual and nation begins to look out for the other first, working together with the other, the problems of modern society will be resolved. Throughout my life, I've dedicated myself to efforts for peace. Whenever peace is discussed, I become emotional. Tears begin to well up in my eyes, my voice shakes, and I can hardly swallow. It moves me deeply just to imagine the day when the world becomes one and begins to enjoy peace. That is the nature of peace. It links people who think differently, are of different races, and speak different languages. Our hearts yearn for this world and harbor a hope that it will be realized. However, peace comes through concrete action, not just having a vague dream. But building a movement for peace has not always been easy. There have been many, many difficulties. I've not done this for my own honor. All I did was invest my full effort so that we can have a world where strong and peace takes root. For as long as I've been doing this work, I have never been lonely. This is because ultimately, peace is the desire of every person in the world. It is strange, though. Everyone wants peace, but it still has not come. It's easy to talk about peace, but to bring peace is not easy. This is because people push aside the most elemental, fundamental truth needed to bring about a world of peace. They pretend not to know this truth is there. Before we talk about peace among individuals or among nations, we must talk about peace between ourselves and God. Each religion today thinks of itself as the highest, rejecting and looking down on other religions. It's not right to build fences against other religions and denominations. A religion is like a wide river flowing toward an ideal, peaceful world. The river flows for a long distance before it comes to the wide expanse of peace. On its way, many streams flow into it. The streams cease to be streams from the point they meet the river. From that point, they too become part of the river. In this way, they become one. The river does not reject any of the streams that flow into it. It accepts them all, embraces all the streams, and forms a single flow as it continues toward the ocean. People of the world today do not understand this simple truth. The streams that seek out the river and flow into it are the numerous religions and denominations of today. Each stream traces its origin to a different spring, but they are all going to the same destination. They are seeking the ideal world overflowing with peace. Peace will never come to this earth unless we first tear down the walls between religions. For thousands of years, religions have grown in alliance with particular ethnic groups, and so they are surrounded by high cultural walls. Tearing these down is an extremely difficult task. For thousands of years, each religion has surrounded itself with such high walls. insisting that it's the only correct religion. In some cases, religions have expanded their influence and entered into conflicts and fights with other religions, using God's name in activities that had nothing to do with his will. The will of God lies in peace. A world fragmented by differences in nationality, race, and religion, where people attack and fight one another and shed one another's blood, is not what God wants. When we shed blood and fight each other in his name, we only cause him pain. A world torn to shreds has been created out of the desires of people to promote their own wealth and glory. It does not represent the will of God. God clearly told me so. I am only his errand boy, receiving his words and carrying them out on the earth. The path to bring a world of peace in which religions and races become united has been exhausting. Many times I was rejected by people, or my own abilities fell short. But I could not put aside this mission. When members and colleagues who worked with me would cry out in anguish because of the difficulty of the task, I would even feel envious of them. If you decide this path isn't for you, you have the option to stop and turn back, I told them. Or if you try and still cannot accomplish it, you have the option to die trying. But you should pity me, I said. I am a person with no such options. There are close to 200 countries in the world. For all these countries to enjoy peace, the power of religion is absolutely necessary. The power of religion is the love that overflows from it. I am a religious person whose role is to convey love, so it's natural that I would work for world peace. There is no difference between Islam and Christianity in their commitment to bring about a world of peace. In America, I led a movement for peace, bringing together thousands of clergy who transcend denomination. Through this movement, we discuss ways that people of all faiths, Christian, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist, etc., can come together. We devote our full energy to change the heart and hearts of people. My purpose is the same today as it was yesterday. It is to create one world with God at the center, a world brought together like a single nation without boundaries. All humanity will be citizens of this world, sharing a culture of love. In such a world, there will be no possibility for division and conflict. This will mark the beginning of a truly peaceful world. So those are the words of Reverend Moon from his autobiography. So this time let's watch part 3 of our Peace Starts With Me rally featuring Bishop Noel Jones. And as always, there'll be some entertainment, so I hope you enjoy.
We really need peace, and the only way to obtain peace is if we come together. Text Peacemaker to 33444 to get in touch and make your contribution. Please support us as we continue our work towards peace.
Please welcome back Walt Whitman's Soul Children of Chicago.
Okay, folks, if you're just joining us now, this is the second ever live Peace Starts With Me virtual rally themed Come Together Children. And now some of you are wondering where you too could get this adorable t-shirt, Peace Starts With Me. Well, of course, you can go to peacestartswithme.com, or if you're lucky, you could catch this one that's in my hands right now. Just text something beautiful, say something nice, give a message of peace right now on the live feed, and our team is going to choose the best one and get in touch with you to give you this t-shirt. So are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Don't worry, I've got one more right here. Another t-shirt. Next one, next comment. Come on, team, you got to pick the best comment. Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Right now, it's time for our keynote address. We're going to get on the peace train and go all the way west to Los Angeles, California. We're going to be hearing from our very own Bishop Noel Jones from the City of Refuge, LA. Let's give it up for the Bishop Noel Jones.
To Dr. Hawk Jahanbu and all the members of the Peace Begins With Me movement. The chaos we find ourselves in is defined by all religious cultures as man's estrangement from the Creator, from our God. Islam teaches that Adam and Eve disobeyed God, repented, asked forgiveness, and God forgave them. In spite of forgiveness, they still had to suffer the consequences of, and I quote, living a mortal life on earth, unquote, with all of the cataclysm that such disobedience and rebellion against God brings. They teach free will causes us to go astray, but God is forgiving. However, as a Christian, I would say Islam does not calculate the cost of this forgiveness. Hinduism teaches the man named Adama was staying there under a Papa Vriksha, or a sinful tree, and was eager to see his wife Havyavati. The Kali Purusha quickly came there, assuming the form of a servant. He cheated them, and they disobeyed Lord Vishnu. The husband ate the forbidden fruit of the sinful tree. Again, the issue of disobedience to the drama that destroys relationship with their concept of the higher being brings chaos to our world. In Buddhism, every person is taught they are in charge of his or her good and bad deeds, thus being in control of how he or she molds their destiny. It's believed that every human being is an individual of great worth with a wealth of good and evil. The good in a person awaits the right time to manifest. In short, Buddhism teaches that every evil deed done is by a singular individual, not their relatives or friends, and as a result, only the evildoer will repay for what they've done. The good in a person awaits the time to manifest. Judaism and Christianity from the Bible teach in different forms that the fall of Adam brought extreme cataclysm, ultimately death, and of course, everything in between. There was murder in the first family, and as early as Genesis 6:5, God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of his heart was only evil continually. Notice some words here. Every, only, continually. After the universal judgment of the flood, man united. In order to avoid further judgment by flood, they united to build a tower to heaven. In other words, man decided he was not going to change his behavior. So what he wanted to do was have a safeguard so that he would never be in this situation again where God could wipe him out as a whole. So now what we have is the whole world uniting rebelliously against God. It is here where God intervened in Genesis chapter 11. And here's what he says. If as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. So he decided, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. Can you see how things have developed? Things have developed from murder in the first family to violence everywhere, till every imagination of the thoughts of their heart was only evil continually. Then man, after judgment, decides he and she wants to gather as a unit and avoid any more judgment because it wouldn't change behavior. And notice what happened. Now they are confused in their language and separated even further. The problem that arose from that is everybody who had the same language stayed in the same place and began their own countries and nations, and now they become divided against each other. Notice, however, though, speaking the same language makes nothing impossible that they plan to do. Doing this against God, and it can be done. Now imagine if we speak the same language and we are in the will of God. If speaking the same language against God can cause them to be together and anything is possible while they are against God, I want to make that point. Then think what would happen if we spoke the same language and we are in God's will. In a speech to the IAPD, I indicated that it is true that each culture has had to face challenges in the manner in which we treat each other. And God always had a leader to put together a document with strict rules of how we should treat each other. We can go back as far as the Hammurabi Code, I told them, who put together a document somewhere between 1792 to 1750 BCE. That's before the law. Known today as the Code of Hammurabi. 282 laws are one of the earliest and more complete written legal codes from ancient times. The codes have served as a model for establishing justice in other cultures and are believed to have influenced laws established by Hebrew scribes, including those in the book of Exodus. After every inhumane treatment, and particularly the inhumane treatment of the Hebrews in Egypt, God gives the law. In view of our limited time, I extracted 3 principles from Judaism: charity and kindness to others, healing the world, and justice. I did not mention mercy or forgiveness as standalone, because if there is no justice, how can you show mercy? And what would you need to forgive? Justice says, I am guilty, I need to be forgiven. I included pikawak, nefesh, saving a life, which speaks of the sanctity of human life. In Hinduism, Brahma's sword separated the sky from the earth, darkness from light, life from death, male from female. Each is now passionately trying to unite with the severed half. Their conceptualization of their God is, as humans, we are two, seeking unity. And love is the word we use for that search. Kabir, the mystical Indian poet, says, the river that flows in you also flows in me. In Islam, there has been much emphasis on the necessity of promoting brotherhood and friendship with the people of faith and the people of goodwill, and at the same time combating against the evil, corruption, and the oppressors. Of course, in Islam, love is universal, and the Prophet of Islam was not sent save as a mercy unto all beings. Therefore, even fighting against those who do wrong and injustice should be out of love. It is an act of genuine love for mankind as a whole. We fight not with a carnal weapon, but I dare say we fight with our message. In Buddhism, there is the first, the Maitri. Conquer the angry one rather, by not getting angry. Conquer the wicked by goodness. Conquer the stingy by generosity, and the liar by speaking the truth. And that's a quote directly from Buddha. In Christianity, we have the Bible teaching of the kingdom from the Sermon on the Mount. John, his disciple, says, how can we say we love God who we have never seen and not love our brothers who we see daily? Our rebellion against God not only disrupted the relationship we have with our brothers, but it disrupted even nature. Even the ecology suffers because of the ill relationship we have with our brothers. Paul puts it in Romans like this. Romans chapter 8, about verse 20. He says, for the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. Because the creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. Now, the same creation itself, notice what he says, will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. Nature, everything around us, is waiting for us as human beings to have peace and love with each other so it can reinstitute the kind of ecological benefit that comes from when men are together and people have peace one with the other. Our reconciliation to God, and this is in every religion, and each other will reconcile nature to us. Our dissension and disunity destroys the ecology. The colonizers who came in the name of religion literally used the distortion of truth to minimize the indigenous people instead of spreading the love of God. When they came to each group of indigenous people around the world, instead of just spreading the love of God, money became the issue. And people who were in lands and countries before they were so-called discovered are now called all kinds of names. And one name that they were called because of this zeal and zest for money and to completely overwhelm and oppress people, they were called in many instances savages, calling God's children savages around the world. A South African preacher, Bishop Maponga, he said to me in a conversation, he said, civilized people live in harmony with nature. And I would like to add to that, civilized people live in harmony with each other. And because they live in harmony with each other, nature is benefited. No one is served unless everyone is served. No one is important unless everyone is important. God loves no one unless he loves everyone. We cannot love some of God's children and not love every one of God's children. On February 10th, 20,000 Father Moon, Son Myung Moon, in exegeting Matthew 5:43-48 said, if Jesus, as he hung dying on the cross, had held any feeling of malice toward his enemy, God's providence would have been turned completely upside down, unquote. To Paul in Philippians, and obviously to Father Moon in his writings, Jesus is the definition and the illustration we must follow of true love. Definition ends with Jesus. Illustration begins with Jesus. Jesus, the definition and the illustration of humility. Humility being the substratum of unity without which there is no peace. But true love is a substratum of humility. It is the strength that comes from a relationship with God that I understand. A servant is no greater than his or her Lord. So as the world at Babel could have accomplished anything possible, even in a unity of rebellion against God's will, how much more can we in unity representing God's will accomplish peace in the unification of North and South Korea, the unification of the world, and the saving of the planet that we live on together? God, in Acts chapter 17, 26, the scripture says, God has made of one blood all nations to dwell on the face of the earth. The how much more can we is beyond our cognitive boundaries to grasp. If they were confused and if they were in rebellion and they could do anything they wanted to do, how much more can we is a message of great hope for what seems impossible. How much more can we is the energy of love that comes from a universal God. How much more can we has the makings of a great renaissance. But where does this how much more begin? Who can tell me where this how much more in God's will begins? Ask the mother of peace, Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, and she will tell you that this how much more begins with me. The renaissance of peace on earth, she will tell you, begins with me. All we will achieve begins with me. Peace begins with me. This is true love for the whole wide world. And we, as the soldiers of peace, must declare to the world and everybody who will hear, peace begins with me.
We really need peace, and the only way to obtain peace is if we come together. Text Peacemaker to 33444 to get in touch and make your contribution. Please support us as we continue our work towards peace.
Brothers, sisters, family, peacemakers, peace builders, children of God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this, participating with us. I hope you had a chance to see it all. If you only saw a little bit of it, don't worry. We're going to be restreaming and resharing it with you. Maybe you want to text it to your friends, email your friends, let everyone know what's going on. Peace is possible in our lifetimes, brothers and sisters. You know what? After the last one, the most overwhelming response we got was the question, when's the next one? Literally, that's what the most common response we got from the last rally was, when's the next one? I can't wait for the next one. Well, this was the next one. And, you know, if you're asking yourself right now, when is the next one? When's the third one? Well, that has something to do with you. You can trigger the timeline by donating and helping us out. Just text Peacemaker to 33444 right now, and we can get this peace train going on to the next track as soon as possible. Brothers and sisters, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Go to peacestartswithme.com if you want to find out more, if you want to get yourself a t-shirt or anything else. All else I got to say is much love to you. We're one family under God. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Let's roll out with some music, guys. God bless you.
Here we go. Sold out. I am sold out. Mama. Everybody say, I'm sold out. I am sold out. Clap your hands, choir. Come on. Mama. Hey. Sold out. I am sold out. Oh. My mind is made up. Come on. Everybody say, I'm sold out. I am sold out. Come on, clap your hands like this. My mind is made up. Here we go. See ya. My heart is fixed. My mind. No room, no vacancy. His spirit lives. That's the reason. Woo!
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the performances and Bishop Jones. He's a very deep thinker. I always enjoy hearing what he has to say. He's just so much in depth. And he's, again, we're very appreciative of him for participating in this rally. He's a very good friend of Peace Starts With Me programs, the Universal Peace Federation, and Dr. and Mrs. Moon. So again, I hope you enjoyed that. And to conclude, I'd like to read, again, some more words from Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon's autobiography, Mother of Peace. The harmony of our mind and body is an important agent of healing, and faith is what allows us to realize that harmony. God gave us a blessing to be fruitful. It means to have spiritual, psychological, and physical health. Love practiced with moral responsibility is what we call true love. The mother builds the family builds the world. I love you. These are the sweetest words because through love, all life begins. True love is the most important factor in creating a happy family. Love between parents and children most resemble God's love. Love within the family is the model of the love that God desires us to practice in all spheres of life. Peace will come when two people, a man and a woman, trust and love each other. When true parents, true spouse, and true children form a peaceful family, happiness follows naturally. Harmony is created when parents, children, and grandchildren unite in heart. The greatest happiness is generated within the family when the three generations live together in love. Children of true filial piety are those who sacrifice for their parents, just as their parents have sacrificed for them. The family is the world's most important institution. Goodness is because your mother and father are there, and happiness is because your brothers and sisters are there. We cannot achieve true love without sacrificing ourselves. A person who develops true character and a warm heart will make a very good spouse. Families in which a wife lives for her husband and the husband lives for his wife will overflow with love and God's blessings. Every one of us needs to feel deeply grateful for being born. There is not one person whose life is meaningless. Peace means that all energies in the entire world and universe are one in harmony. We should deeply realize that everyone is a precious being, born through the sacred workings of the universe. The culture of heart transcends time and space. A child sleeping peacefully is the epitome of peace. A child's innocent smile clearly illustrates what happiness is. A child's voice is gentle, but it opens the door to the heart, reconciles strangers, and expresses happiness and peace. Without God, the parent of humankind, there could be no peace in this world. The wish to live forever with one's mother and father conveys the heart of filial piety. Nothing leads to greater happiness than being able to attend the beloved parents for whom we long. Seeking peace is comparable to searching for a needle in the middle of a sandstorm. Success is accomplished only by the intervention of God, our heavenly parent. Religion should be our lifelong companion. True religion teaches the nature of God, the reality of God's love, and how to live in that love. True love means living for the sake of others, serving others, not being served. True love means to forgive endlessly. Goodness is to serve others and let go of the memory of having done so. When we give and forget, true love flourishes. Circumstances and environments change, but true love stays the same. True love is a power that unites a man and a woman eternally. True love transforms every sadness and pain into joy. When our mindset changes from wishing to receive love to wishing to give love, a world of peace will be at hand. A filial child considers what he can do for his parents and courageously follows through. When we convey filial devotion to all people, and everyone lives for the sake of others, that will be the kingdom of heaven. Filial devotion is a preeminent practical virtue as well as an eternal pillar of life. True Parents' guiding life philosophy is live for the sake of others. If you constantly put others first and live for their sake, you are on a path to eternal freedom and blessing. A truly successful life is not powered by money, position, or authority. It is powered by true love. No matter the difficulties we face, the answer is to practice absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience. Your life is a gift from God. God's will for us is that we make our lives beautiful and worthwhile. Your heart is your closest teacher. Your heavenly parent who loves you resides deep in your heart. You are designed to hear God's true voice. We all need to hone our ability to hear God's whisper in our hearts. Your heart is your eternal guardian. Heartfelt prayer is the passageway to God. The sea is a symbol of the mother and the icon of motherhood. God's fundamental purpose was to enjoy a parent-child relationship of love with us. My husband, Reverend Moon, lived by the mantra, sincere devotion moves heaven. Our task is characterized by true love, the heart of giving and wishing we could give more. We are one family and one holy community of Heavenly Parent. A true and lasting peace can only be achieved when we come to know and understand our Heavenly Parent. Only by connecting to God's will and the providence can we expect to create lasting solutions. Let us work together toward the bright, new, hopeful era of the settlement of God's kingdom. Heavenly Parent created the family to be the environment of the greatest happiness and goodness. So those are words from Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, the co-founder of UPF. So we always talk about peace, and we actually have a whole programs of study and lectures. So if you would like to understand a little bit more, sometimes we call it Godism. And again, it's the idea of bringing all cultures, nations, and people of the world together as one, finding commonalities that we've found in our teachings that have the strength and the ability to bring all people together. So please get in touch with me if you'd like to hear some of our programs. We talk about the ideal. We talk about what happened to mankind that deviated man from God's ideal, that causes a world of conflict that we have today. And then we talk about a restoration process that's taken thousands of years of God's history to bring us to the point today. And we can really show very clear and interesting patterns how God has worked throughout history to bring us to this moment we're in today, and that peace will be realized today. So again, thank you for joining us. Again, please get in touch.